Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're looking at a film script. It's a really cool blend of Hindi film tropes and European art cinema.
I noticed that even a John Lennon quote, right?
Yeah, and a nod to Edward Hopper, too.
Hmm.
It's definitely not your typical Bollywood romance. The story goes in some really surprising directions with a lot of suspense, but also humor and even social commentary. So are you ready to unravel the mystery of this blind pianist?
Definitely. Yeah, let's dive in.
So right away, we're hit with this really intriguing opening scene where you have this blind hare that barely escapes a farmer's bullet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it really sets this tone of suspense and foreshadows, I think, all the twists and turns that we're going to see later on.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Yeah, that opening was really captivating. It really sets you up for something different.
Yeah, for sure. Then we're introduced to Akash. He's a very talented blind pianist who's kind of hustling, trying to make it in Pune. He plays at this jazz cafe, Franco's, gives music lessons, and he dreams of going to London to compete in this big music competition.
It feels very grounded, right? Like his day-to-day routine.
Yeah, you really get a sense of what his life is like navigating the city.
Yeah, absolutely. The script does a great job of kind of immersing us in Akash's world.
But then comes the twist.
Yeah.
Akash's blindness, well, it's not real.
Oh,
It turns out he's been wearing these opaque contact lenses, and it's all part of this method acting experiment that he thinks is going to, enhance his music.
that's a bold choice, right? To choose blindness to improve his art. I mean, what do you make of that?
I think it's a really fascinating choice.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what would drive someone to do something like that. It raises all these questions about authenticity and how far someone is willing to go, for their art.
It definitely adds this layer of unease to his interactions too, right? Like when he meets Sophie,
Right.
she's this really cool, free-spirited woman. She challenges the way he sees the world, and their whole relationship is kind of built on this foundation of, well, this unspoken truth.
Right, and you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, when is he going to tell it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Is the secret going to come out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But then we're introduced to a completely different world, right?
Mhm.
This is the world of Pramod Sinha. He's this aging Bollywood star who lives in Pune with his much younger wife, Simi.
Yeah, it's an interesting contrast, right? Pramod represents this older generation of Bollywood, kind of this fading glamour.
Yeah, totally. And Akash is drawn to Pramod's music and his stage persona. So when Pramod asks him to play at his anniversary celebration, Akash jumps at the chance.
And that's where things start to take a really dark turn, right?
Yeah. Akash arrives at Pramod's apartment expecting a party, but instead he stumbles onto a murder scene. I know, right? And the thing is, he's blind, but he sees everything.
Oh, man.
He witnesses Simi and her accomplice, a guy named Manohar, trying to cover up the crime.
Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I know. Talk about bad timing.
Yeah.
It's a classic Hitchcockian setup, though, right?
Yeah.
This ordinary guy suddenly caught up in this extraordinary and dangerous situation.
And his blindness adds this whole other level of complexity.
Right, because now he's a witness, but he can't exactly come forward, without revealing that he can actually see.
Absolutely.
Oh.
And to make matters worse, Simi, who's now a widow with a secret to protect, she becomes suspicious of Akash.
Right. Can he maintain this charade while also navigating this really perilous situation?
Yeah. Akash has to play this high-stakes game of deception,
Right.
all while trying to, figure out what he's witnessed. His blindness, which was like this artistic choice,
Yeah,
now it's become a shield, a way to survive.
yeah. And then there's Mrs. Desa.
Yeah.
She's this, very observant neighbor who saw Manohar entering Pramod's apartment before Akash arrived. She's like a modern-day Miss Marple, kind of piecing things together.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Her presence, I think, shows how interconnected this community is. Like
Right.
everyone is somehow entangled in this web of secrets.
Yeah, absolutely. And her impact on the story becomes even clearer when she turns up dead.
Oh no.
Yeah. It seems like an accident, like a fall, but Akash isn't so sure.
Hmm. That definitely raises the stakes.
Right.
It shows how far Simi is willing to go.
And it puts Akash in even more danger.
Yeah. So what does he do? Does he confront Simi?
Well, he decides to go to the police.
Oh, wow.
He reports Manohar's involvement in the murder, still pretending to be blind.
Okay, but remember, Manohar, he's a police officer.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so this adds this whole layer of corruption to the story.
Right. Now, he's not just dealing with a murderer, but a potentially corrupt system, too.
Exactly. And Manohar, he's not stupid. He starts to get suspicious of Akash.
Of course. So now Akash is really in trouble. He's got this dangerous secret, and people are closing in on him.
Yeah.
How does he escape Manohar? I mean, Manohar, he's not just going to let this go.
No, of course not.
Right. He starts digging around, searching Akash's apartment.
Yeah, making his life pretty miserable.
Yeah, Akash is always looking over his shoulder.
Oh, he's on edge. Right.
Totally. And then Manohar does something really audacious.
What's that?
He tries to expose Akash.
Ooh.
Yeah, he just rips off Akash's glasses, expecting to find, a perfectly healthy pair of eyes.
Wow. That must have been intense.
You can feel the tension in the script, right?
Absolutely.
So what happens? Does Manohar see through the act?
Well, this is where Akash's earlier lie kind of comes back to help him. You see, because he's been wearing these opaque contacts for so long, his eyes have actually become sensitive to light.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so he manages to convince Manohar that it's just, a recent eye injury.
Wow, so his lie becomes the truth.
Yeah, in a twisted way.
It's really clever, though.
Yeah, it saves his life in that moment.
But it just deepens the web of lies he's caught in.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to catch up with him eventually.
I wonder how Sophie reacts to all of this.
Well, when she finds out about the deception, she's devastated.
Of course.
She feels betrayed, and, who can blame her, right?
No, not at all.
It really breaks down their relationship.
Oh, that's sad. They had such a good connection.
I know, right? It's a reminder that even lies with good intentions can still really hurt people.
Yeah, definitely. But meanwhile, Simi, she's still trying to protect herself, right? She invites Akash over to her apartment, seemingly to thank him, for his support.
Simi, she's a really interesting character.
Yeah.
She's so driven by
right.
fear, ambition, maybe even a messed up sense of love.
Yeah, it's all kind of mixed up in there.
But she's definitely willing to do whatever it takes to secure her own future.
And that includes getting rid of Akash.
Yeah, this scene is really chilling. It's like you can see her facade cracking.
Yeah, it's scary. And then she does something really unexpected.
What's that?
She tries to poison Akash.
Oh, no. With the coffee, right?
Yeah, she laces his coffee with poison.
So much tension there.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
He's sitting there blind, but knowing what's going on.
He has to figure out a way out of this.
It's brilliant, though, the way the script uses his heightened senses,
Right. He's learned to rely on sound and touch.
Yeah.
And those senses might actually end up saving him.
Do they? Does he drink the coffee?
He manages to avoid it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but now he knows how dangerous Simi really is.
Right. So what does he do?
Well, he basically runs for his life.
Okay, but he's injured, right?
Yeah, he's hurt and alone.
It's a dark moment for sure. Can he even escape at this point?
Well, here's where the film takes this really dark comedic turn.
Okay.
As he's running away, he gets hit by a van.
Yeah,
I know, right? And he ends up unconscious.
Oh, so what happens? Does someone find him?
Well, yeah, someone finds him. It's Murli, remember?
Oh, the auto driver.
Yeah. He comes to Akash's rescue.
But he's not alone, is he?
No, he's not alone. He's with his aunt, Saroja.
Wait, the lottery ticket seller.
The one with the Shivji tattoo, yeah.
But she seems so harmless before.
Well, it turns out appearances can be deceiving.
Okay, so what's going on?
Murli and Saroja, they're not exactly who they seem.
Oh, what are they up to?
They're running an illegal organ harvesting operation.
Oh, wow.
And they see Akash with his, damaged eyes
Yeah.
as their next target.
So he escapes a murderer and a corrupt cop, only to end up with organ harvesters.
It's a crazy turn of events.
This is like the worst day of his life.
Yeah, pretty much. He wakes up in their clinics surrounded by all these surgical instruments.
Oh, that's terrifying.
It's pretty messed up, right? And there's this doctor, Dr. Swami, who's getting ready to operate.
This is too much. How does he get out of this one?
Well, he makes a desperate gamble.
What does he do?
He promises Saroja and Murli a huge reward.
Oh, huge.
1 crore.
Wow, if they help him expose Simi and Manohar.
So he's playing on their greed.
Yeah, it's a risky move.
But I guess he doesn't have a lot of options.
No, not really. So, do they take the bait?
Do they go for the money?
They do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're tempted by that kind of cash.
Oh, of course.
And so they agree to help Akash set a trap.
So now we've got this whole new scheme in motion.
Yeah. It's a wild ride from here on out.
Okay, so the trap is set. What happens?
Well, everyone in this story, they have their own agenda, their
Right.
own secrets, and it doesn't go smoothly.
Things fall apart.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Simi's caught between Akash and Manohar, right?
Right. She's playing a dangerous game. She's trying to manipulate both of them. but her plans start to crumble and she gets more and more desperate.
So what happens? What's the final straw?
Well, in trying to, save herself, she actually reveals a key piece of evidence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like poetic justice, I guess. So police
Yeah.
finally catch up with her.
So she's brought down by her own doing.
Yeah, exactly. All of that greed and deception, it catches up to her in the end.
And Akash. He's the one who set this whole thing in motion.
Right. But does he find peace? I'm not so sure.
What do you mean?
Well, there's this really disturbing scene at the end. We see Simi, she's tied up, and Akash confronts her.
Okay, but he was the victim, right?
That's what's so unsettling about it. There's this coldness in his eyes, like something dark has taken root.
Wait, so he's become the villain?
Well, it's not so black and white, but he does reveal this plan to blind Simi.
Oh, wow. So he's going to take away the very sense that she used to underestimate him.
Yeah, it's really messed up, right? It makes you think, has Akash been corrupted by all of this?
Yeah. Maybe he's not so different from the people he was fighting against.
The film doesn't really give us easy answers, you know?
Right. It leaves us with a lot to think about.
Definitely. Like, what are the true costs of survival? How do our choices shape who we become?
Yeah, heavy stuff.
It really is. What about Saroja and Murli, though? Do they get away with it?
They wanted to exploit Akash, but they got caught up in this whole revenge scheme.
I think their story shows us how, greed can turn on you.
Right.
They become victims of the very system they were a part of.
It's a reminder that our actions have consequences.
Absolutely. So what's the takeaway for our listeners after this deep dive into Shoot the Piano Player?
Well, this film is definitely a wild ride. It's full of suspense, dark humor, and it really makes you think.
Yeah. It challenges us to question everything.
Right. Like, what is truth? What is deception?
And it makes us think about the choices we make when our backs are against the wall.
And what happens when those choices come back to haunt us?
Exactly. Shoot the Piano Player. It's a film that'll stay with you. It asks some tough questions about human nature and the things we do to survive.
This has been a great deep dive. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
Of course. Always happy to explore a fascinating story like this.
And thanks to all of you for listening. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.